Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. As always, we start with the headline news. Before we get into the headline news, though, I just want to say that Richarlison has officially left the club today. We don't want to linger on it too much. I think enough's been said. I released a video this morning on the channel. I did a video regarding it. We sort of knew it was coming. If you want to watch my thoughts on that, then you can check out the video on the channel. But basically, he's gone. He's gone to Tottenham, which we all thought, on a 5-year deal. Like I said, we don't want to linger. So moving on, we have the headline news, and the headline news is that Everton are interested in signing Watford forward Emmanuel. The Nigerian is on the Everton's shortlist of targets. Watford could be tempted to sell him for a fee of around £20 million. That's come from Standard Sport. I actually really like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a decent player. I think from what I've seen of him, he's okay. The stats as well prove that he performs in similar areas to Richarlison, even in the defensive actions. We did run a poll on the Toffee Blues. We said, would you take Emmanuel Dennis for £20 million? 88.1% of you said yeah, 11.9% said no. That's still open for another 23 hours. Only 646 of you have voted, so go check it out. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I see where people are coming from with him. There are obviously worries that this might just be one good season that we're buying him off the back of. Statistically, Richarlison had a good season by all, and he had the same numbers. So we'll have to wait and see. I've heard rumours that he has attitude problems, etc., etc. I don't know about that. In all honesty, I can't say for sure because I'm not a Watford fan. But it's interesting, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. 20 million, it's not a bad fee. He's 24 years old. I mean, we've got to be realistic, guys. I know some people will say, why don't we get X player, B player, C player, D player? Lewis Potter, for example. But if depending on the fee, I heard they wanted 30 million for him. I don't think Everton are willing to pay that. And I don't think I would pay 30 million for him. That's a bit too much for me for a lad that hasn't done it in the Premier League. That's a bit too much for me for a lad of that age. So it's one of that. I've seen people go, why don't we go after Samaka? I'm going to pronounce it the Italian lad. I actually really like the look of him. I think he's got a lot of potential. But I think because he's plays for a club outside of the Premier League, we're probably not going to get him. We seem to be Premier League level. Taking into account expectations, I would absolutely be happy with that. I think compared to some of the other players we've been linked with, Dennis would be a decent signing for us. But like I said, we'll have to watch this space. Speaking of players we're linked with, and we are linked with a lot today. It seems like Richarlison's leaving was the catalyst. We have Everton are considering a move for Jesse Lingard, who is currently a free agent. Talks have already taken place. That's come via the Echo. And more specifically, it's come via Christopher Beasley of the Echo, who's the Everton reporter. So interesting. Paul Joyce has also said that Everton are interested in Lingard on a free transfer as well. So you've got a mixture of Paul Joyce and Beasley saying it. Again, we ran a poll on the channel. Would you take Jesse Lingard for Everton? So far, 1,778 of you have voted. 58.5 said yeah, 41.5 said no. I said no. He wants really big wages, I believe, 150 odd K. And everyone keeps saying about his West Ham, and that's brilliant. If you get Lingard that was at West Ham, that's absolutely fantastic. But you're not guaranteed to get that. And Jesse Lingard, I mean, he looks it, but he's not that young anymore, guys. So I think he's a new name, but I think he's 29. He'll be 30 next season because his birthday's in December. I think we've seen this before, haven't we? Is this not what we moan about currently, signing players of that ilk? That's what we've been moaning about for being in this mess, and that's essentially what we're going to do. He doesn't set the world on fire. I would say, we bought Sigurdsson off a good Swansea career. And I'd say up until we bought him, Sigurdsson was a lot better than him. And other players as well. For me, it's just not Lingard. Lingard is a big no for me. I think we should avoid players of this ilk. We also have the news coming from Telegraph in Holland that Tottenham winger Steven Bergwijn has snubbed us so he can move to Ajax. Said this, didn't I, in a video the other week? I said I'm not keen on him because he's got his heart set on Ajax, and if we were ever to be picked by him, it'd be I didn't get my first move, so I'll go here for the sake of having a move. And he's snubbed us now anyway. He wants to go back to Holland. I said that wouldn't be a massive surprise. I hope, I hope he gets the move he wants. Otherwise, he's going to be sitting on the bench watching Richarlison at Spurs. I think that's a bullet avoided there, really. You don't want players who don't want to be here, who are going to be here as well, sort of with their arms crossed going, could have had a big move. Moving on, we've got Burnley who still believe that Everton have broken the Premier League's financial fair play rules and have not yet dropped their complaint, despite what some reports have claimed. However, Leeds United have dropped their complaint, leaving Burnley on their own. That's come by The Athletic. So basically, both teams were in a bit of a mither. Leeds stayed up, so they're not bothered anymore. Burnley obviously were relegated, so now Burnley are still bothered. It comes across as a bit sour grapes. The Premier League will be well aware of our financial situation. We're well aware of our financial situation and are suffering from it currently. I don't think the Premier League will take Burnley's claim very seriously because they know we're working within what's been agreed. We had a deal agreed with them as well that I saw the Esk tweet out months ago, saying not to worry. So, I just think from Burnley, I get it. Nobody wants to be relegated. We never wanted to either. But that, the game's a game. Hopefully it's, I say this, hopefully that we're not in this mess again this season. And this doesn't come back to bite me, but the game's a game. It's a tough reality. But you could argue if they didn't sack the manager when they did, or if they did hire a proper replacement, etc., they might have stayed up. Burnley are looking for a way out, but their owners need to take a bit of responsibility for their relegation, if you ask me. Marcel Brands has been busy. He's been speaking about his time at Everton on ESPN. He said, "It's a wonderful country for football, a very wonderful club, but very difficult to manage, especially because owners are very involved, which makes them easy to influence. That makes it very difficult sometimes." Like I said, that's come by ESPN. He then goes on to say, "Of course we did good things. Only that was also the frustration. You don't get the grip that is needed to change things. We made steps internally, but then you see the impatience and you fall back on having made steps. So what we all thought, really, I've seen a couple of fans like to dig out Brands, etc., but we knew this was the case, and now he's gone, and Mishiri's sort of in the firing line. We knew this. It was the owner having too much influence, giving away too much of an input. Too many chefs spoil the broth is the case with Everton. I worry it's not changed much under Thelwell and Lampard. I hope it has, but I don't think it will. I think it's best if Mishiri. I don't think it'll change till he leaves the club. If he does leave the club, maybe it's changed. You know what? Maybe surviving by the skin of our teeth is the sort of wake up he needed. But nothing the Brand said there has actually shocked me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he was a perfect person either, and he got everything right. But I don't think he's as bad as some fans will believe. I think it is just a case of too many chefs spoil the broth. I think even the best director of football in the world would struggle at us, and it's a crying shame because we're a very good club. We've got a loyal fan base. We've got a new stadium. There actually is quite a lot to shout about if you're an Everton fan, other than the on-field performances, and that sadly is the be-all and end-all of football. You can have a new stadium, you can have dead loyal fans, but if you're not getting it right on the pitch, that will that will be the be-all and end-all. So it's a shame. It's a real shame. We also had the new home kit released. Again, there's some videos on that down below. My reaction to it yesterday, I saw today that I released. I was there in person, that the channel released. I was there to see the kits in person. They're very nice, so go check that out. I taught you through some of the stuff about it. And then Paul and Terry McAllister have also done their reaction to it as well. Go check those boys out as well and their thoughts on it. And watching their video before, I think we somewhat have slightly different opinions, but that's fine. That's all. It's the wonderful world of football. But yeah, go check it out. Go check the home kit out. We also have the news that John Ebrell has taken up a newly created position within Everton's academy structure. He will now become a player development senior coach. And then Paddy Boyland of The Athletic tweeted saying Everton will now look at a new head of academy coaching. Saw a couple of people reckon that this might be Thelwell and the players search, the player transfers might be Lampard, which, you know what, I would be in line to believe. There's a lot going on within the structure, which is good. I think the structure needed changing at academy level as well. Don't get as many academy products now as we'd sort of hoped. But it's good to see that that's happening. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that is players. Yeah, it could be Lampard that we're letting buy the players. I don't know for sure. That's all hearsay, isn't it? But that is all I've got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on any of the things I've discussed. Would you take Emmanuel Dennis? Do you think he's a decent replacement for Richarlison? Lingard, let me know your thoughts on that one. I'm sure that one will split the room. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. It's sad to see Richarlison go. And what do you think about Marcel Brand's comments? Because again, I think they'll split the room. But yeah, let me know all that. I look forward to reading it, and I'll see you guys all very